Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This is Steph. This is an intro.
We don't know how to do intros.
Nope. And here's my co-host.
I'm Scott. I say dumb stuff.
And I hope you enjoy this wonderful show.
It's the best part. So.
I envision that sometimes just chatting is some of the greatest stuff we have on these podcasts.
Yeah,
so.
Especially right now because people
I've really enjoyed the work you guys have done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
it's all Steph.
No.
Well, I watched the YouTube video, the first one.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I usually download the podcast on the Apple podcast services. But because he's launched the YouTube channel, I thought probably the best way to go, because I have YouTube Premium, so I'm able to turn the video off and still hear the content.
Cool.
Yeah. I put the audio, I learned how to extract audio last weekend, so that was fun. That I didn't know how to do it, and so I went through this like Google process of like, hey, I'm going to learn how to do this, and I finally figured it out so I could still put it on the podcast page. But I kind of like the channel because I like all the places I watch things, like Star Wars Time Show and stuff is like this live. You get to see people and their collections, and kind of it's kind of nice. So,
that's the thing, yeah, because it's very faceless at times.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. It's one of those strange parts of social media, specifically Instagram social media, in the genre that we're in. We don't post a lot of selfies. We don't post a lot of, we're not posting ourselves. We're posting stuff we have. And so, very often you have no idea what the person looks like. I had no idea what you looked like until we popped into this feed. So it's a pretty wild thing.
So, I mean, just to start everything off, we can just say hello and like do
hello.
All that stuff. This is like the first time we've ever had on anyone on the podcast that's not been in, I think, the U.S. So I'm pretty excited about this, because when you said you were in the Netherlands, I'm like, oh gosh.
First international guest, nice.
Yeah, it's just kind of exciting.
First international celebrity.
well,
So
the
we
thing
can
is,
ask,
like,
I was going to say, how long you've been in the Netherlands? You can tell us a little bit about it.
I'm a bit traveled. I'm from Ireland originally, and I've been living in the Netherlands now 5 years. I've lived a little bit of time in Italy, Denmark. I spent some time in America and in Canada as well. So this is apart from Ireland, this is the longest I've lived anywhere.
Where in the United States did you spend time?
New Jersey, New York, upstate, and in California as well.
Very cool. Is it mostly for work, or just because?
With the States, it was summer camping that just got going to something more was work based. Ireland is a very quiet country, and living in Europe, it's so easy to move to different countries and stuff, and I love the experience. And when I went back home, it wasn't the same. So the Netherlands is just a beautiful country, and I have a great job here as well. So
very cool. Because I was born in England because my dad was in the Air Force, so I've been overseas and everything like that a little bit too, but I don't remember very much of it. It was only until I was like very little. So
I think you've called yourself an Air Force brat before.
So it was kind of interesting that I got to at least be over there for a little bit, but definitely go back. But on that,
I haven't. It's my pandemiversary.
It really is. It's interesting. Like, I was noticing that looking at my page the other day, I was like, wow, I'm coming up on like the year anniversary of when I started this, because it was during the lockdown. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And
as I mentioned to you earlier on.
Yeah, go ahead.
All my toys were at work, so when we were officially told that we'd be sent home, I started in my office computers. I just had them, some in boxes, some without boxes, just all displayed in front of me, and I literally loaded everything up and brought it all home. And my girlfriend was like, "What are you gonna do? Like, none of my toys aren't on display anywhere. They're in a box or little pull-out basket elsewhere." And I have to put them neatly away every time I finish using them.
I was gonna ask how you like started like thinking about taking photos of them, or how this image, even this first one with Gambit, like came about. Like, what started that spark to kind of just take the photo?
Well, Gambit and X-Men are two of my favorite comic characters, and I used to go to the Comic Cons a lot, and I suppose it comes from when you were a kid and with your parents shopping. You'd want a toy, you couldn't get one because of whatever reasons. And now you're older, it's like, well, I want a toy, I'll get a toy. So
get whatever you want now. You're an adult. You get to make your own choices. I know. I totally get that.
So
Yeah.
I think I bought what I liked the look of. It was based on just the look, and then I display it and just messing around with lights, I think it was, and I was like, oh, this might look cool. So on my iPhone, took a shot of Gambit, and then I'd been watching, with the iPhone updates, it was like all these videos on YouTube explaining how you could edit your picture in the app itself. And I was like, oh, this looks cool, because I started to learn about darkness and light on the images.
I have a question about this Gambit photo. So was this actually, I'm curious, was this actually like your first photo you took of a toy, or is it just the first photo that you posted to Instagram?
Probably the first I posted to Instagram. I probably had taken a few, was like, yeah. I think I had taken a lot and showed my colleague, go, what is cool? And he's like, yeah, man, you should set up an Instagram account for it. But I was like, yeah, I'm 39 years of age, 40 now. This is something I should be doing as an older guy. But then when we were sent home, I was like, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. And where did the posable thumbs come from?
You want to know this?
It's just that I learned about articulation on toys. So as I was telling you earlier, I had a couple of Marvel Select figures, older ones, and they just lack in articulation. Like their bodies, there's no ab crunch, there's no shoulder swivel, there's no real detail in them. And toys from most of I have ever seen, none of them have ever had like a posable thumb that you could, you could change for like, you see now you swap hands for gun holding or knife holding and stuff. But if you could actually pose the thumb to grip or not to grip, or for like Peter Parker. So I just thought, it's not a name I'd ever seen. I thought it was just unusual, and that's why I picked it.
I love it. I love the name. I love your name. It is truly, it is a fun one, and it's one that I always remember too. Like it just stands out to me when it pops up. It's not an easily forgotten handle. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with really basic handles or anything like that, but like your handle is very memorable. Like I feel like it's the kind of one that people see and they go, oh yeah, remember that? What's that one? Posable thumbs. Yeah, I remember that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. And my the logo that I just recently used, because I'd been changing just based on the images I really like taking photos of. Like, oh, that's a cool one. Like I had Carnage for a while, and I had Deadpool for a while, but then my cousin designed, because I just turned 40 last month, designed that image, which is taken from one of my other pictures of Deadpool doing the Spider-Man whip, which I'd taken a hand off of one of a different Spider-Man figure, put it on Deadpool, and edited it up so that it would match his hands. And she had done a design on that, and I was like, wow, that could be a cool logo, and she did it for me.
Very cool. I know the logo that we have for this originally, my friend Betsaid, she was like, I was like, can you make me something for this? And she's like, yeah, and it had to be this color green because of just the way my feed looks. And so now that Scott's kind of joining us for this video presence, I wanted to make sure that FSoft Rebel was on there as well. So his wife actually comboed it together and made kind of like how everything is going on.
Spliced it.
Yeah, and she did it like in 5 minutes too, which is amazing. So
ridiculous.
Really cool. But it's funny how we could take art, like taking pictures of action figures and moving on. And there's people that take that art and make their own kind of really cool things, like your cousin did with your logo and everything like that. But your page is like really awesome. I was like I was doing Scott's thing too. I went through it. I'm sorry I didn't take Scott's favorite pictures. These are going to be some of mine that I like that are on your account. So Scott didn't have a choice on this matter.
It's fine. I'm good. I'm just here. It's all good.
But like I
so I'm a hot. Go on, you go.
No, I said I grew up on X-Men, so like I absolutely like picked my favorites of my characters for X-Men. Like Mr. Sinister is amazing, but you go ahead, like go. These figures are awesome. So.
Well, I'm as I said before, I love horror movies and stuff, and villains always appeal to me specifically. And Sinister's look is such an iconic look for an X-Men villain. And you see like the detail on that picture there on his face, like the lips, the teeth, the cheek, the just definition. I was like, I'm sure you can make this really pop if you get in close and tight with it with some filters, and that's why I like to look at that one.
You nailed it with this one. Like, I love the fact that the eyes are sunken in and in like a dark space, like shadowed, but you still see the bright smile and the bright teeth. That is such a classic villain portrait. Like, you know, there is no eye, there is no window to the soul, where it disappears. It's all about that, like, that kind of menacing smile and the flash you get there with the shadows under the cheeks and stuff. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it.
He's not easy to photograph. Like, he's not super posable.
Oh. Well, he wouldn't be, because his cape is all plastic, I'm assuming, right? Because he's got all those bits going off everywhere. So one of the characters for it. What do you shoot with? Like, is it just with your phone, or do you use a camera, or what do you have for gear?
iPad Pro. Not the modern one, the previous model. Not the biggest one, the 10.1 version iPad.
It's funny, that was one of the things I noticed, because I said it to Steph. I was pretty sure that you shot with a phone or a device because of the lens angle, and that's the thing I struggled with when I was doing your challenge. Was I wanted to go like 28 millimeters, but like I couldn't do it for whatever reason, so I just kind of stuck with my more like closer to 50. But that is something that I think is really clear about your work, is that you shoot with that, and it gives your photos a uniform perspective. And I think it's very cool. I like the fact that you do tend to shoot a little wider than a lot of other toy photographers do. It makes you stand out quite a bit.
I appreciate that. You probably did see that I have tried using a camera a couple of times. The Deadpool Juggernaut stuff, and one of the Sabretooth pictures. I borrowed my girlfriend's camera. I have no idea sizes, angles, lenses. She literally put the camera in my hand, and I just kind of messed around with it, because with the basic thing why I like using an iPad is that you take a shot and then you can work on the image straight away. You can import it into Photoshop, Snapseed, some other apps I use as well to edit, and you can finish the image without any messing around. But with a camera, I've got to port the image from the memory card onto her computer, and then port the image from the computer onto my iPad, and then edit from there. So it's just easy for me to use the iPad.
I'm going to show you something, so I'm going to hold it up. So I have this, which is like a thing that plugs into my iPad, and you can put the SD cards from the camera into it, and then it goes straight into the iPad if you have the right thing. It's just like something for $20 on Amazon, and it is a game changer for me, because when I'm out and about, like out back, like packing outside, I always bring my iPad to like see if I can edit from there. And so it's nice to have that access, because I had the same thing. Everything seemed so clunky to me, because I'm not pretty expertise on lenses or types of equipment, but I knew that I wanted to have that access right away. So it's something neat for you, especially if you're going to think about going outside eventually to go take photos or anything like that. It's kind of cool.
That's the thing, is because like I primarily the iPad, I've not got around to thinking yet of using the camera as the first option. If I ever do that, then that'll be something. Because as you can tell from my pictures, they're very basic. It's like the toy is the everything about the picture, and then it's the light and the angle. So I always try to throw a dynamic angle and then dynamic lighting. Toy, angle, lighting. That's the ABC of my photographs.
Absolutely. That was something that again, that I really thought was so key to how you shoot is I think you're using like a window ledge, right? Isn't that typically where you have the figure a lot of the times? Yeah. So like that is such a key part. I love that, and it's always like, and the fact that you're using that scene, you're not cluttering it with a bunch of stuff. It's again distinct to your style. That is very you. You've got the window light, you've got the ledge, and a lot of times you can see the ledge in it. And there's not a lot of extra there. You don't make it distracting. It's really, really cool. I love that.
And just so they know, like, I didn't know you were shooting with a phone at all. It just was really awesome that you can get that perspective from an iPad or a camera image. MJ, who's Chef Toyardi, shoots with his phone too, and you would never tell. So it's just an artist's perspective. The way you focus on the way you angle things, it makes it look cooler. I mean, the camera's only going to help you later on and once you want to do it, but you don't need to. So it's kind of cool.
This image here is taken with a camera, though, just in case anyone was watching.
What camera did you shoot with?
It's a Nikon. I think it is. It's an older camera. It's something my girlfriend has. She used to take photographs a lot, so it's just been sitting in a drawer. And I was like, well, maybe I'll take it out and take some pictures. But it's interesting because that window ledge, basically, when I started, it's in our living area. That window area takes up like maybe over half the space in the living room, and it was, of course, it was last March whenever we started this, so the weather was bright. But I've recently found that when the winter hit, my lighting disappeared because all my early pictures are just natural lighting. So I then struggled to light my pictures afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep, changing. Seasons changing.
I mean, it's awesome. And the fact that you got them to balance like that too, because I could know that's probably took a little bit. This one's like my favorite of all time. It was super cool.
I made this my Spotify profile picture.
So good. So good.
This character alone is like super awesome. So when I actually saw it in your feed, I was like stopped. Like, I have to pick one of this. It's awesome.
Well, fun fact, he's like my second favorite X-Men character of all time, Nate Gray. A lot of in-game names. I mean, I was if my account was Posable Thumbs, it probably would have been called Nate Gray 124 because I've used that as our Mr. Sinister 124 as my login for a lot of like my PlayStation account and different things like that as well.
It's funny, a lot of people don't shoot him, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there to shoot Nate Gray. Like, I feel like you could do a lot. He's powerful, he's cool, he's likable. Like, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity, and you don't see him photographed as often, I feel. And maybe it's just the circles that I tend to roll in, but he doesn't pop up very often. You know, you get a lot of, you get Rogue, you get Jean Grey, you don't get him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's there's a couple of issues with him. His arms aren't super posable. His head as well. It's got one of those weird short-faced heads, so that's why you see the images top down because you don't notice it. If you shoot the jawline and the markings under the neck show up really, really badly. So I just thought that image there, it shows power. And doesn't show the weak. I always try to hide weaknesses in images and highlight the strengths.
And it sounds like how long have you been collecting figures?
Oh my god, the last year gone crazy. I had been just over the last 4 or 5 years at Comic-Con, I'd pick up Marvel Select Ultron, which I've never got, or Marvel Select Thanos, which I think I did one picture of, and I'd keep them at work in some of their boxes and stuff. But when this happened, and I started finding places in the Netherlands that sold these figures, then it was like, well, the Age of Apocalypse collection there, and then the Fantastic Four, and then X-Men, and then this, and then that, and then this, and then that, and then since lockdown, I've had packages come to the house like definitely once a week almost.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Have you pre-ordered any right now?
The new Thanos Marvel series Thanos, but they got cheap, and the Sentinel Prime and the new Wolverine from House of X.
Mm-hmm.
The Sentinel
Because I've
ones
got, I have.
the Sentinels are like the big ones, right? Like the big old ones that they had. Like
No, this is
Yeah,
the
no,
smaller one though.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a small character from the new comic book series, but she's got two amazing heads. One is a red bald head, and the other one is like a long haired with like a metallic mask nose bridge job. Looks amazing. And I've got the Nimrod from the Phantom X Psylocke 3-pack, which I've never opened, and I can't wait to pair Nimrod with her because they're going to make a great duo.
The red face, the bald head sculpt, I think is just absolutely stunning. It's so detailed, even close up. It looks amazing. I was looking at it and I was just floored by how much they get into like the facial structure is there. It's really, really nice. Like the figure itself is cool too, but that head sculpt is awesome. It's so good.
Are they making more Marvel Legends figures or Marvel Select figures with different heads too? Because a lot of the times they give you like one, I think, right?
They're doing multiples now.
They're doing multiples now. Like probably, I don't know if you saw my Firestar.
Yes.
Image.
Yes.
Her face is that head sculpt is absolutely beautiful.
Incredible.
Like the lips, the eyes, the details. It's stunning. I think they're really doing great work with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is great.
As you can see, my pictures are either trying to be very dynamic action posing, or comedy.
Yes. I love this. I love some of your subtle humor. Some of there's another one. I don't know if Steph put it in there with Deadpool looking between his legs, like with his head upside down. That's a great photo. This is great, and I love the use of Deadpool. Deadpool is such an over the top character. He's supposed to be over the top. He's supposed to be a little absurd, and you're so good at just putting him in these great scenes and these great mashups and like wonderful like crossover humor. It's really cool. I like this.
Yeah. Thanks, Scott. It was like I took the picture of Firestar with the dog with Misty, and I thought it was a cute image because I'd bought. If you noticed, the carpet that she's dealing down on with the dog, it's actually a mouse mat I bought my girlfriend for Christmas, and I looked at it and I was like, "Honey, can I borrow this? Because this would look great in my pictures." And after I'd taken it, I was like, "Oh, that's a sweet image," and I was like, "Wait, I'm sure I can do something with Deadpool here." And I had the face hugger from the NECA Aliens line. I was like, well, what if Deadpool has a pet alien face hugger?
I didn't realize that was
the same
a mouse
shot.
pad. Oh my gosh. I just assumed, I haven't looked that closely, but I assumed it was maybe like a dollhouse rug or something like that. I didn't dig that deep into it, but that's hysterical. Now I got to go back and look. I'm really curious to look at it more closely.
Because I wanted to start a series of Shang-Chi's House of Yoga. Basically, pick a different toy and put them in yoga poses with some sort of comedy or maybe not comedy angle on it. So Deadpool was the first one, but I haven't gone back to it. So, but I must.
It's a really neat idea, though. Where's this little blue guy from?
That's from Rick and Morty. That's Mr. Meeseeks.
Oh.
Gotcha. It's so good. I love it.
And he comes with that golf club. He goes with the golf club. So it was like, and this is actually an older Deadpool figure which I don't have anymore because once I got the Fox version, I got rid of that one because it has no articulation in the hip area. It's just a big block from the hip to the chest.
Oh man!
Is this? Did you ever get the? Did you ever get the? Who before? Hasbro. It was Toy Biz, Toy Wiz, Toys.
It was how
Who?
it is before, yeah.
Toy Biz, yeah. Did you collect any of those, or did you only do it once Hasbro took it over?
I've only seriously since Hasbro took over because
Okay.
like that Deadpool, and I had a Hawkeye under Toy Biz, I think it was. And,
Yeah.
it's Marvel Select. I've only ever had Marvel Select figures or Hasbro.
Okay.
Marvel Legends.
Gotcha.
We're gonna start with the black and white challenge here, and Scott gets to be first on this.
Yep.
It's kind of funny because I feel like black and white photos kind of like pull back and like you get a real like how the image kind of looks. Like it takes all the like color sparks and everything else out of it. So getting to know someone's style in a black and white, I think kind of really gives you the meat and potatoes of a photo, to say the silliest thing about it.
No, you're right. It forces you to think about geometry and light and contrast, and it takes away one of the elements that can sometimes be distracting in a photo, and forces you to really kind of dig into some of the more minute, which I think is fun. I like that we've been kind of doing these in black and white.
Window ledge either.
Yeah,
I just realized.
Oh, I made sure all 3 photos that I took for this series were all done on a window ledge. It was like that was the most important part.
First thing I spotted.
Yeah, I said it, and it was funny because I said it to my wife too. She's like, "Where are you going to photograph?" I'm like, "I'm going up to the guest room." She's like, "Have you ever taken photos in the guest room?" I'm like, "Nope, but I'm going to today." And that was it. I just sat there, and I was just like, "All right, how do we do this?" And I tried to make sure too that like I incorporated the edge of the window ledge in there so you can see it, because I think that is a part of your style that I think is important once in a while when you see that, to remind you the context, because it's fun when a toy walks that line between looking real but yet recognizing that it's a toy. Like there's something very cool about some photographers who just take very realistic photos and realistic looking settings and realistic that, but there's something really neat when it's in a situation like this where if you look closely you can see the perspective of this is a window ledge behind them. Now at quick glance it could be anything, but when you really start looking it's like, oh wow, that I've always liked that element to your photos. I think there's something cool. There's a specifically a Michael Myers one that you took where when you look at it, it's the NECA figure. It looks super, super real. Like he's standing and he's got the side light on him and it's like it could be a doorway or something. But if you know you as an artist and you know your style and you look really close, you're like, interesting. It's a toy standing next to a window. And I think that's the fun thing about being a toy photographer, is playing with people's brains a little bit like that. So I really wanted to make sure I kind of hit on that.
Yeah.
And then just making sure, I think we talked about this a little bit, the mashup idea. You do crossovers and mashups so fantastically. You do different upward angles really well. Focusing on one main figure, and sometimes other figures can just be almost props in the image. But yeah, it was this. I had a really good time doing these. This was it was awesome, one of those things. I didn't know how they were going to come out. It was like I finished up and my wife is like, "So, did you get anything?" I'm like, "I have no idea yet. I'm not 100% sure." But it was really fun. It was a really, really good challenge.
That's the magic of photography as well, because and this is the biggest problem I have as well. Sometimes I feel Instagram's not enough for the photos I take, because they're shrunk down, so you've a limited space to work with, and a lot of the photos lose their impact when they're shrunk down that much. And B, sometimes you take multiple angles of a great picture, and let's be honest here, when people are scrolling through their feeds, not that many go through multiple shots. So I think there's a couple of artists I follow, and I notice that they've got 4 images. I'll go across and I'll make sure to check them all out, because while they have picked more likely, like I do, I always try to pick the grabbing the image for the first one. Sometimes maybe you or me will find one we prefer better in the second, third, or fourth panel. So that's the difficulties I have sometimes with, which one do I choose? Which one should I put as one? Should I just do multiple? Should I post one today and another one in 2 days' time? Or should I post all 3 images in one go?
Yeah, I do that. Like, I mean, you guys follow me, you know, kind of know how I do it, but I really struggle with the posting multiple photos in one frame because, like, I do feel like people don't scroll through, and they end up missing sometimes photos that I would hope that they would actually get a chance to really enjoy. And there's something kind of important about getting to see every image. And I know it drives some people crazy to see, you know, a series of 6 photos all separated out, but it's like, then just unfollow me. Leave me alone. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's also interesting as well because, like, I try to post every 2 days because I put up my story that a couple weeks ago. If I have the content, should I post daily? But sometimes I feel like a post needs time to marinate in your feed or in people's feeds. If you post one image and then post another one the same day or then the day after, that original image that might be awesome might get lost in the algorithm and might get noticed because your newer picture takes that place. So I think, you know, I'm still getting to grips with the whole toy photography Instagram algorithm, which I think a few other people have that issue too.
Yeah. It seems like there's too much science now to posting a toy photo than anything else. But like what I like to do, I like the idea of the word marinating is actually an amazing word to describe it, but you want the photo to get its full, the way you feel about it, let it have its time to like fully be there and be present and all that. And it's harder sometimes. I think I took most of this, it's like the 13th now in March. I'm pretty much going to take this month off of posting just so I can reevaluate how I want to attack my account, because I had that internal panic that I wasn't posting enough times where the algorithm was going to screw everything up, where I was like, that doesn't need to happen anymore. So marinating is a good word for it. I like
you and Steph have such a better understanding of that and how that functions. Like, I am so, like, when it comes to the curation of my page, I'm so particular about how like visually how it scrolls and this and that and like the nature of it. Like, it's like a gallery to me. I treat it like a gallery.
Yeah,
but when
saying your page is beautiful, Scott. How it comes out, it just looks so professional.
Thank you. The thing is, though, I still don't understand how the science works. So
we're gonna go on to the next one, which is
your stuff,
my
though.
attempt.
There's a lot of love and attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is my attempt at your style, which was just trying to get a point of angle that was lower and trying to like focus on a Marvel Legends, which I own a few figures, but I don't like use them very often. So I don't know
there's the contrast. Heck yeah.
So
yeah, that's a beautiful shot.
What character is that?
Is it a cat or a raccoon?
Yeah, it's a little Nindroid cat. I had to put something Nindroid related in there. So
and is that a Galactus Herald?
She's from it's like an all-female Avengers group. I can't remember what they're called, but I got a bunch of the figures because they were really cool. But she's like translucent. I'm gonna grab her.
A-Force,
yeah.
Yes. I can never remember all the things in between, but she's like translucently blue. But I was super excited to see what she would look like in
Wow, that's a stunning image, Steph.
But I always liked how you incorporated like the dog with the hammer on the Deadpool shot earlier and like little tiny like real life things that go into this Marvel world. So it seemed appropriate.
Yeah, that cat is so important. Like, it's funny because it kind of disappears, but it's super important because it reminds me, like you said, of Alan's photo with the puppy showing up and like periodically, or the face hugger with Deadpool. Like it's her pet, but it just kind of plays like a little side character. It's so good. So good.
Yeah. Because there's this powerful force above and then there's cute innocence on below. It's perfect contrasting.
And then we get to yours. I couldn't pick one, by the way. So the one that you had, I think it was like a textured something was on the bottom of it. Yeah, that he was like reaching out to some, like all 3 of them were amazing, and I was like trying to figure out how to get all 3 photos onto one slide, but it was going to be too much. But I had to go with Ghost Rider because he's amazing anyway. So
Your framing in
Well,
this is just
this one was an
remarkable.
Thank you. This is one of these ones where I was up late watching a horror movie, and I probably had him lying around. And a lot of times in my living room, I like to light some candles, turn the real lights off, and just enjoy the movie. So before I head to bed, candles are still lit. I'm like, why turn off all the lights? Just leave the candles on. And of course, on that bike, and of course on the flames, it reacts really well to light. So on the left near the face of the bike, you actually see just a bit of the candle that's illuminating everything on the opposite side.
Yes, I was going to point that out. I love that slight little glow off to the side. Like it just adds to it because it's a light there, but you think maybe it could be coming off of the flames off the bike, or is it coming from another light source? And the way it lights up it's really good. The side of his face is fantastic. I just love the angle too of the bike coming down. This is what I'm talking about with you and your angles. It's you stay away from shooting parallel, and it really he's coming at you. He's coming into the lens, and it's just good. It's real good. I love this.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. It's like he's the spirit of vengeance, roaring into you with his flame whip. But again, like I say, this image is hiding. This is in the figure, and highlighting the strength of it. So the articulation or the detail in his face. I edited this one up. I put a bit more darkness in his eyes, and I highlighted the flames a bit more, just lightened it up a little bit, and just it's like the ink black absorbs any of the weird the errors around the figure and just makes it up.
Yeah.
Alan, have you printed any of your photos? Have you printed any up? No. I feel like some of your really contrasty photos would print up like amazing. Amazing. I would love to see this on paper. I feel like it would just be one of those things like that would just hold up so well. Those bright highlights against the dark.
I think like we're all very self-critical on our work. So it's like, because you should see my iPad. It's filled with I probably have a couple of thousand photos of stuff I've done that I'm like, no, don't like that one. No, I edited it up. Don't like that one. Don't like that one. And it's mad because on New Year's Eve, I did a Deadpool series. I wanted to do something for New Year's Eve because a lot of people would be in home for it because they couldn't go out, no socializing and everything. So I had taken a lot of pictures basically of Deadpool's New Year's Eve party with the Jean Grey and Emma Frost from the Hellfire Club and Christmas decorations. Basically Deadpool getting drunk over the course of the night. And then on New Year's Day, then I put him. I swapped his head onto Sebastian Shaw's body, so it gave him an outfit for New Year's Eve. And then on New Year's Day, then I put Deadpool in a cat bed and just shot him really up close. And that picture has my most likes ever, over 500 plus likes on New Year's Day for a simple image of Deadpool with his hand behind his head, just chilling in a cat bed. It required almost no editing at all.
Mm-hmm. It's weird how that happens. It's crazy.
But yeah, if you go to, so I was, as New Year's Eve was going on, the drunker I was getting, then I was just like, I gotta post. So every 3 hours. I usually post every 2 days, but on New Year's Eve I posted like 4 or 5 images that night.
It's funny how that kind of works sometimes, where you're just like, what am I going to do today if I'm bored or anything like that, or if like you need something to do. Taking photos seems to be the new like go-to for your kind of activity and everything going on. So, do you like time out when you're going to take photos? Like, do you have it scheduled, or how do you know when you're going to go and take a shot of something?
It's random. I always like Gigi you spoke to. She, I think in her interview with you guys, she spoke that she always had a few in the can. I'm exactly the same. So I'll for my birthday in February, I got a ring light, and I got a small little studio lighting kind of set thing because I was struggling with natural light, and I've taken a lot of pictures in the last couple of weeks. Now, I've not taken anything this week, but I have so much that I can edit up that
Mhm.
I can put that out there. But like I I do intend to take some figures out and do some more, because I ordered X-Men Bishop and
Ooh.
X-Men Mystique and X-Force Shatterstar from a Dutch version of eBay here in the Netherlands. So I'm just waiting for those to arrive. So once they come out, then I'll do some of those shots.
Yeah.
Is this the new Bishop, or is this an older version of Bishop that you're getting?
To the older version,
Yeah,
the older version.
that's cool.
But again, to get them, they're expensive. But
Yeah.
I love Jim Lee's X-Men. Like the '90s X-Men era is my era. So
So going on for this like hobby, 'cause it's your first year. Congratulations, anniversary on all
yeah,
that things. What's next for what
thank
do you want
you.
to do with your account? Where do you see it going? Are you just gonna keep going with what you got, or like do you know where you want to, like maybe Marvel Legends hits you up for a photo op, or what would you like to do with it? Look at it.
I've never even thought that far ahead.
Is that great?
I don't I don't think that far ahead, really. I just keep taking photos, basically because I love movies. Before the pandemic hit, I used to go to the theater, cinema, 2-3 times a week, maybe, depending on what was out. I used to work for Blockbuster in Ireland back in its heyday, like for 10 years. So I'm a movie, like I love movies, and I get ideas, inspiration from movies to do pictures and stuff. And that's why my angles come from movies. That I always start photographing from the bottom up. I always take an image from the feet up, and then try for a stark, strong, like my recent Juggernaut shot I did. I really like that one, how that turned out. Just suicides and imposing. So I basically will see something and go, oh, I want to replicate that, or I want to try attempt that with these characters.
What are 3 movies that have been like the most most influential on your photography? Like, what are the top 3 that have really like got you thinking when you're photographing?
There wouldn't be a top 3. I'll be watching a random movie, and I'll see an image. I'll pause the movie. I'll screenshot it, and
so it could be anything.
And then I'll move on. That. It could be anything. Yeah, 2 characters sitting down next to each other, like one I did with Spider-Man and Daredevil, just sitting talking. They're just in a sitting position. I'd seen it in a random TV show. I just like I like seeing the human body in a certain way, going, can I replicate that with toys? Just a natural image. Like the one I did of the White Power Ranger recently that I'm actually using as my own phone wallpaper. This one.
There you go.
That's just a chilled.
Yeah, he's just sitting.
Just a chilled image of a toy, but but with a small head turn, whole tilt to the hip or shoulder. It adds a whole lot of life to the image if you look properly.
Yeah, if you nail a pose that is a very natural pose with a toy, I think it's so much more. It gets people's attention even more than like a really heavy action like superhero pose. I feel like if you really knock a good just casual pose out of the park, it gets people's attention. Like some of the photos that have gotten the most attention on my page, it's just because I swear it's just because I tilted the head just exactly how it was supposed to be, as opposed to a photo that's really intense doesn't always, get that kind of reaction.
That's it, yeah. I mean, I was using, when I first started my account, what I loved about the naked figures is that their detail and allow for that kind of emotion. Like to do Jason or to do Freddy, or Hellraiser, it's very easy to get them into a natural pose and photograph them. But I find that when I switch to doing images of those guys, there's a massive drop off on account connection. So that's why you don't see much of them.
Yeah.
That's a shame too, because like it kind of deters you from trying out a different type of figure. I know I do own Mezcos, I own Hot Toys, I own Nendroids. I have Nendroids are what I take most of my photos of. but it's neat. I would love to see more NECA on your page,
Mm.
like to look at it and like have it come up there, especially since you like horror so much. There's so many really good ones. We have a lot of the NECA gremlins, which I think are so fun. They come with so many cool little like gadgets and ideas, and you could put them in like the craziest of situations and it would make sense. So yeah.
Yeah, Deadpool would definitely get in there.
Speaking of an
I
awesome
did.
movie.
I did order the new Scream Ghostface. NECA.
Perfect.
Yep. I just saw him at my local comic book store the other day, and I was like, he's good looking. It's a good looking figure. It looks really nice.
But all those knives and weapons and just to look, again, characters like that just suit a dark background and just with the right lighting can really be creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't know people who check my account out. Maybe they don't like creepy, so it's like I keep it. I keep comedy or dynamic shots, and that seems to do okay.
What's a figure
But
that you've
if
been
you're-
like?
you're-
What's a figure you've kind of been eyeing that's completely different, completely off base that you've been looking at that people have that you might want to try sometime if you could shoot it if somebody else owned it?
Dragon Ball Z figures.
Nice
Majin
pick.
Buu figure.
Nice pick.
I've seen some absolutely amazing dynamic shots with that pink guy. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I saw even just before I come on the call today, someone did a family one with the Big Boo, the Muscle Boo, Kirby, and another pink figure, and it looked fantastic.
It's interesting you say the thing about like Dragon Ball Z, because I do find that anime characters just look so good in figure form. And Steph and I have talked about this. I don't really know much about anime. I don't follow it, and so it's I just think it's so cool though how good they look. They just photograph so nicely.
I also think the expressions that they come with, because you can swap them out, would just give it so much more to your like comedy and everything. Just the faces they could make, especially with Deadpool having fun,
Yeah.
it would be pretty fun. Be
Yeah,
awesome.
there's I follow who was it? Eldon Waya. This guy, he does amazing work with those kind of figures, anime figures. He always puts them in comedy positions. It's just absolutely hilarious. And most weekends he'll do like a little 3-page comic book spread kind of thing with the toys, and they're usually absolutely funny.
I'll have to look at. I'm gonna find him after this.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alan, can you send that name to me
there's-
at some point? I want to see. I just want to take a look at him. So if you don't have to do it right now, but if you get a chance, I just would like to. I want to look him up later and actually get a chance to look at his stuff. I might
Yeah.
follow him and I don't realize it, but
It's funny because
I also shout out to
no, go ahead. I'll chime in right after this.
the real Legionnaire, Jason, his name is. He has these beautiful toys. They're like designer model toys with real clothing and real gorillas type styling. His stuff is just amazing. He uses just stunning art. I'll just put this last one. I'll pull up. But he doesn't have. Here we go. The Legionnaire. It's just Laura
yes.
Ashley figures.
Yes, the 3As.
So they're super stylized and iconic figures. But it's so different than to anything I see on my feeds personally. But great guy and some amazing work as well.
I was just gonna say
this whole experience.
I'm just
You-
gonna say
you
it's
go ahead,
funny
Steph.
that we follow so many different like accounts, and there's still so many to discover that you kind of get lost in like the void, like not void, but like there's a lot of things going on. I realized the other day that I follow 2,500 people, and I don't even know if I get to see all that a lot of the time. Even the people I talk to on a regular basis, I'm like, did I see something that this person posted today? It was pretty neat. So Yeah, if you see somebody and you're like, hey, you guys should check this out, they're amazing, definitely let us know too.
Sometimes I find myself having to go back and look through the people I follow and just open up their entire account and just go through. So I'll like blow up someone's account that I haven't had a chance to look at in a month because nothing of theirs showed up on my feed. So I'll just be digging through and I'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't seen anything from this person. Open it up. Before I know it, there's like 50 awesome shots that I missed. They're looking at like, oh man, Scott's going nuts here. And it's just like, comment, like. But yeah, I'll totally miss it. And that's, again, that goes back to the algorithm and how Instagram is set up. But it's also the more followers you have and the more people you follow, it becomes sort of a challenge. Like it becomes trying to keep up with everybody and trying to see what everyone's doing. That's why I truly don't even mind when people will tag me like in their photos. I know some people get like annoyed by that. Like I actually embrace it because it gives me a chance to see some of my buddies who, you know, disappear otherwise. I'll go through all the photos like once a week. I'll go through everything that I was tagged in and I'll just scroll, and it gives me a chance to kind of see what I was missing and stuff like that. So
same, absolutely. If people tag me, it's not a problem because you always comment and like and then untag yourself afterwards if you want to. But if you don't get tagged, then you mightn't see the image. And I do feel bad about that because certain accounts don't pop up, and sometimes I have to go looking for them, and there's not enough time in the day sometimes to go through every single person's account.
Yeah.
There's not enough time.
As I was saying, Steph, it's been a mind-blowing thing since I started this because I was like, take photographs of toys and post it on Instagram. But then you realize that the community is so vast, so expansive. People from all walks of life, from all countries around the world, doing the same thing. Like, there's a lot of people, when I started this account, didn't know that it was me who was running it. Some of my friends, I just didn't tell them it was me, and they were adding the account because they saw that my own account was liking it. And then later on, I was like, wait, is that you? And I was like, yeah. So why didn't you tell us? Like, you know, don't laugh at me.
It's a weird thing to try to explain to people what you do. It's like you never know how people are going to respond. I mean, I've lucked out. Most people have been really fascinated by it. But it's super bizarre to talk about this because it's like, you know, nerd culture has become so normal now. It's been so normal. Everyone's accepted it because of, you know, the Marvel movies and Star Wars and this and that. But, you know, when we were growing up, like the three of us, like it wasn't cool to be into Marvel stuff. Like wearing a Marvel shirt to school was not cool. You couldn't get like a Marvel shirt at, you know, a hip store. You were a dork. I mean, I still remember vividly getting made fun of for bringing my action figures to school when I was younger to play with on the playground by myself. Yeah, depressing. But, you know, I still like remember being like picked on for like my thing characters and, you know, playing with my Fantastic Four and it's and you look at it now and it doesn't have the same stigma anymore. It's funny. Like it's
not at all.
There's a lot of people out there who love it. Still, like even when I go to my comic book store, like the local comic book store by me, you get people from all walks of life in there now. It's not just a bunch of, you know, nerds like just we're all hanging out, you know, drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos. It's actually like there's people, there are doctors coming in and lawyers and bankers and like anybody you can imagine. Like, you know, people I work with go to the same comic book store. It's funny. It's just it's a different world now. So I think it's important for us to be honest and like share it with people because I've constantly been surprised by how much people have enjoyed it when I've shared it with them. Even people I didn't expect would find it interesting. Even like extended family members who I was like, oh gosh, they're gonna have something to say about this one. They don't. There's a lot of positivity, and it's kind of funny. It's funny how that works.
It's great. I always point people to the Disney Plus show. As at the episode on 616 of the toy collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I saw that it popped up. It looks interesting.
It is. In a nutshell, it kind of explains what we do and then what people at a more professional level do with those with figures and how they pose them and what to do with them and stuff as well. It's actually really handy because people go, "Oh wow, it's such big business." Because and one thing I can't believe with Marvel Legends is how consistently they release new figures. It's just never ending.
Yeah. They honestly, I feel like they're more
While
consistent than the Black Series Star Wars figures. It makes me kind of jealous sometimes because as somebody who mostly collects Star Wars, I've gotten to the point where I go to Target now, and I walked out the other day with 2 Funko Pops. I've never bought a Funko Pop in my life, but I'm so desperate for like Star Wars merchandise that I just like bought a Funko Pop. It's because they didn't have any Black Series Star Wars figures there. But it's I feel like Marvel Legends constantly has good stuff.
To buy the General Grievous one.
Oh yeah. But like the Marvel Legends, like the other day I walked in and there was just a whole bunch of them. That's how I got the Miles. He was in Target. That was not a pre-order or anything like that. I just saw him there and I was like, I'm gonna get him because he's pretty rad looking. And I love Miles Morales. I love that movie. I love him in the comic books. And I was like, yeah, why not? It's Hasbro really does I feel like they do a really good job pushing out Marvel Legends characters and characters that are like side characters that like some people don't even know who they are, which is I think really neat. I feel like Black Series is kind of missing that. I miss the days where you used to get like characters that were named because they became a toy. You know what I mean? Like there was a time when Kenner was doing it where you'd get these figures that they weren't characters who were named in the movie. They didn't get that name until they became merchandise. And I think that there's something kind of fascinating about that, and we really don't get much of that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
In our local toy store online, they've just had some new Black Series that's come in stock. I just saw the General Grievous one for the very first time ever, and I'm very close to buying it. I think it's a
good-looking figure.
It looks phenomenal. I was thinking if I do buy it, then I'd have 4 lightsabers for toys to use.
Yes, you could. Definitely, a lot of options there.
That's definitely worth it, right there.
Mm-hmm. Just for the lightsabers, but it's a good-looking figure.
I bought Firestar because of the dog. She's a great figure, no doubt. Head sculpt is amazing on her, super bright colors, but it was sometimes the accessory piece can be the deciding factor why I pick it up.
I bought I think a whole
Nendroid I still have a Mando.
I bought a whole Nendroid figure just for like an outfit or like a piece, like a cup or something that'll come inside there because you can't find certain scaled stuff in that size. So yeah.
The Nendroids, I don't see them advertised in this side of the world at all. I'm sure you can get them. But I have no idea really, apart from your images and some others who have them. I'd never heard of them before.
Well, even Gigi said they're hard to get in Canada, and Canada's basically the United States. It's like extension. We're connected to each other, and they even have a difficult time. So I can imagine they are probably pretty difficult to get over there. So
I know that Europe has a hard time getting almost anything because Lights Camera Tentacles was telling me he can't even get Mythic Legions are 4 times the price they are online. Because I was like, he wants to get a bunch of those figures, and he was like, done. I can't do it. So
I know there's one place that does have them, but you have to pre-book them in advance. And they are very expensive, so it's.
They'll figure it out eventually how to like get it to everybody because I know Australia has a really hard time too. They have to pay.
Yeah, they're so far away, but it'd probably be Comic-Cons that they'd probably be available at. It's just that when I pass them by those booths, I probably just wasn't knowledgeable as I am now. In the last year, my knowledge has grown because I follow people like Shardamus Prime or the Foosh, and Foosh does a really good job in showing what's coming up, and I'm like. He just showed a new Scarlet Spider by Revoltron. Is it Revoltech? Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
And it looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I love his videos.
Revoltech.
His videos are really enjoyable. I think he's really good at being entertaining and informative at the same time. But yet he somehow manages to make reviews of toys not cheesy. I don't really understand how he pulls that off so well. Because there are some like people who talk about action figures that I I gotta like turn it off because I'm just like I can't be caught listening to this. But he's really good at talking about it in an entertaining way, being a little bit like self-deprecating sometimes, teasing himself for the fact that he's a toy collector, but yet also recognizing that there is legitimacy to it. And it's, what's the difference between somebody who's into this and somebody who's into, going to sporting events all the time? Like, it's not that different. So it's funny. I really do like him, though. I like his account.
I find the videos important for two things. One, his videos give you ideas of what's coming down the line, something they might never heard of before, and you can look into more yourself. And two, his reviews of figures sometimes are the deciding factor why I will or won't buy a figure.
Especially for someone like you, who you have to spend so much sometimes for these figures. I'm not trying to say it's like no big deal, but like I can justify walking into Target and spending $20, and if the figure sucks, I'm not going to cry over it. It's just the figure sucks, whatever. But like for you to have to blow a ton of money on something and then it comes in, you didn't even get to see it in person. You had to order it, and you're just like, wait, I spent how much on this? Like, what? Like it doesn't even, its elbows don't even bend. Like, it's a tough thing. So I get that. It makes a lot of sense to check out reviews.
The Revoltech figures I will give you though, because they're like the Yamaguchi amazing ones. Like, I don't know much about ab crunching or anything like that, but it has everything. Any term you could use, it has it. So, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's why I've heard sometimes it can be a bit janky looking, like the Wolverine figure. I've heard, but Foosh just in his last video showed the Scarlet Spider. He's got the golden claws. That it's a comic book suit that Tony Stark built for Peter, but it's got these big golden spider legs that come out of it, and the posing of this figure is just immense looking.
And Spider-Man needs that too, so it's gonna be sweet otherwise. So
none of my Spider-Man figures can do a simple hand on the ground crouch move. None of the Marvel Legends.
That is not good. And that is so bothersome. And they gotta make I don't know if they need to just double joint everything, but they have you really rarely see the classic the classic McFarlane pose of the being able to like pull the knee up to like almost like the shoulder level with the hand down, and like being able to shoot the webs at the same. If somebody can figure that out, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna sell out in an hour.
Definitely,
gone.
But it annoys me as well with the female figures in Marvel Legends as well, because they have no ab crunch ability. So they're just a body with a moving chest area, so they can go left to right, but they can't bend. And a lot of times, if I'm doing an action shot, an impact shot, the girls or guys should be able to bend over and have their backs arched, head down, to show that force, and none of them can do that. So they're all, you're restricted in what you shoot with the female figures in Marvel.
Yeah, I know it's tough. They're getting there. They're going to keep on working on it, and hopefully, they're getting to a point now where they're listening to toy photographers. Like I've started to notice this. Like they're reacting. It's no longer just we're some of their biggest market at this point, and I feel like they're starting to pay attention. They're not just trying to crank out figures for kids. They want to be able to appeal to toy photographers, the collector. Exactly. They want people to be able to do the poses that they want. I mean, I've even seen it with the Black Series. They spent so much time with that Luke and Yoda set, making him so that he could stand, like do a handstand with the one hand and stuff. I still haven't put him in that pose, but people wanted it. People really wanted it, and they were like, "We have to do this." I was listening to an interview. I think the guy from Jedi Business Talk was doing an interview with the guys from Hasbro, and they told him that they spent forever. Like the head sculpt was fine, the body was fine, everything was ready to go. Yoda was done. It was just trying to get that handstand, and it's so funny that they really did. They knew that Star Wars photographers and collectors wanted it to be able to pose like that. So it's interesting. They are listening. They're getting there.
Yeah. But all right.
Brilliant.
Well, Alan, I think you made it through the whole time there.
Yay! Awesome.
You
I
survived
really
us.
enjoyed this. It's I could talk because when we do these, well, I do the photographs. Like a lot of times, I'm working on an image, and my girlfriend supports me. Like I showed her pictures, like, oh, that's nice. But there's times where I want to talk about what I'm trying to do, and I don't really get an option to do that. So this has been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's fun, and it's fun getting to hear how you work through things and getting a little deeper. We don't get to see people's faces a lot. We don't get to hear their process. We just see the end result. And there's something really nice about sitting down and chatting through some ideas. And, I'm not saying we have this vast audience, but if someone happens to be listening, they might hear something you said and it might get their attention. It might make them think a little bit about how they want to try that, or it's, there's something important about that. There's something important about talking about the stuff you do, talking about the art you create, talking about your process. People want to know that. People want to hear it.
Steph, I found your podcast because when I started, I didn't know anything, and I was looking for a voice or voices to educate me on this kind of stuff. And your podcasts are amazing. That's why I always posted the new episode. I tried to promote you guys as much as possible in case there's other people who were following me that were the exact same boat. Because what your guests have done is give me insight into equipment or ideas, or just talk about other toys that I don't know about. Like in last season, almost every one of your guests last season, you asked the question, do you like to photograph outside or inside? And almost every one of them said outside. And I've never photographed outside. So it's something that hopefully this year I will change. But I just want to thank you for being a voice or an avenue for me to be able to learn from.
Yeah, well, thank you for even saying that. It makes me feel amazing, like right now, because I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I'm not very good with words right now anyways, but it's funny because I will say this. I went on another show with 3 very well-known toy photographers, and none of them shoot outside either. They all shoot indoors. So it's funny that I had a whole season of people that actually enjoy the other side of photography, and we all shoot toys, but shoot them in different ways. So there's a lot out there, and I know that when I try to find a podcast, do the same thing to hear other people's perspective and get to know them. I had a hard time finding it too, so I was like, I'll just create something, I guess, and we'll figure it out from there. So that's nice to know that people actually enjoy it and like can listen to it and get some actual insight and get to enjoy people that I enjoy as well. So
agreed.
Yeah, and this changed out with YouTube and having Scott come in as well. I really enjoyed the last interview, and you haven't posted the last one yet, have you?
Justin's no.
It'll be tomorrow.
Tomorrow it's coming up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's a whole new realm for me on these video things. There's lots of buttons, so I'm gonna figure it out. This is why I got the scrolling message. We got colors. Yep. I got intros. Like we're gonna record our outro, which is why we're waiting till tomorrow, and then yours will be next Sunday. So I'm gonna try to get things done on a weekly basis, but it's a little hard sometimes. So I'm gonna hit end broadcast because we are done.
Well, we can also say really quickly though, like I want to say because before we end the broadcast, Alan, you are awesome. If anybody is listening to this, I want you to check out, Posable Thumbs. He's scrolling on the bottom. Do you have like Facebook or anything like that? Do you have, I don't know, are you like a tweeter or anything? No, just your Instagram. Okay.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's, check him out.
I'm on Twider, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I want to just make sure that we focus on at the end, is just making sure we let people know, remind them, like, follow these people. There are some people out there who are doing some really cool, unique things. Alan has a very clear direction to his page. It's really, really a pleasure to look through. Take your time with it, really soak in the images. And as he said before, let them marinate, enjoy that process. So thank you, Alan, seriously, for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.